Hello mentors, welcome back. This week we're going to be looking at lesson 5, order up. The first thing I'm going to do is explain to you all the different materials that you should have. So, if you take your bag that you should have gotten, first thing I'm going to point out is all the worksheets. So, there's a bunch of different yellow and blue group worksheets. So, yellow group has 2 different types of recipes that they'll have to go through, as well as a percent increase and decrease and a breaking even one. For blue group, they will have 2 recipes as well that they'll have to adjust, and they have a price increase and a price decreasing worksheet. Next, you'll find a bunch of stuff you'll need for making the cupcakes. You'll have your plates, you have Ziploc bags. You'll have your cake mixes. There should be maybe 1 or 2 different types, or 3 depending on which you are given. You should have tablespoons. You should have a bunch of those. Gloves, sanitation gloves. You also have these silicone microwavable cupcake holders. So that's what they'll be cooking their cupcakes in from the microwave. And it looks like we forgot 2 worksheets. You'll have a conversion chart and a microwave cake recipe. Some on-site items that you will also need to provide is water, clean drinkable water, because they're going to have to put it into their cake. And one other small item they're going to need is a microwave. So this lesson can be broken up into 10 steps. The first step is to give the cultural background, and the cultural background this week is about cooking and how every culture has some form of cooking and food, and everybody eats. And so you'll give them a little bit of the background on that, and then you're going to go into explaining in step 2 how math is very important in cooking. You need to know percents, ratios, how to scale things up, scale things down. And that's step 2. So in step 3, you'll go into taking your pre-assessment. And in step 4, you break them up into groups, either blue or yellow, based on how they scored in the pre-assessment. And step 5, we'll talk about, you'll give the definition of ratios and scaling. And each group in step 6 has their own worksheets that you'll take them through. So blue group has a recipe which they will scale up and down, up or down, and then they will also go through how to write different forms of ratios. And yellow group similarly has 2 types of worksheets. They'll also be scaling up and down and converting units. In step 6, you'll just take them through both of these worksheets. You can probably do the first one together for most parts and let them try on their own here and there. And then the second one, when they do the atomic owl poke recipe, they can probably try to work on it on their own and get through it, and just with you facilitating. And then in step 7, you'll prep them for cooking. So you'll have them go and wash their hands. For people with really long hair, you can have them tie it up if they have hair ties. You can also start passing out all the materials that they'll need. Before you can actually pass out all the materials in the prior prep, you should prep things like putting the cake mixes in Ziploc bags so that you can give each group a bag. You also will need to wash all the materials that they'll be using, since they'll most likely be consuming these. So you have to wash like the silicone cups, you have to wash the mixing spoons, and this is where also your water will come into play when you do your when you're handing out materials. And in step 8, we're gonna go and make the cake. So in step 8, you'll need your microwave. So when they're making the cake, they're gonna follow their recipes and conversion charts, which you'll have to, which you'll show them. One thing to note about these microwave cake recipes is your time that you microwave doesn't need to be adjusted. Only the water and the cake mix gets adjusted. The conversion chart's here to help them with converting tablespoons and teaspoons. This is also probably very useful to give them while they're doing their worksheets in step 6. Yeah. Okay, so to make their cake, if you'll see here, it serves 8 people. You want it to serve 1, so you'll divide each of these by 8, which gives you 6 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons of water. Now, each group is going to get a different size measuring spoon, and depending on which spoon they get, they'll have to convert their recipe to match accordingly. For instance, if they, for 6 teaspoons of water, you get a ½ tablespoon, then you'll need to first convert your recipe to tablespoons and then figure out how many halves are in there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make our cake. You're going to want to give them a plate so that they can mix their cake mixture on. If you try to mix it directly into the silicone cup, it's probably going to be too much cake mix in water, so it's easier to do it in a plate first. I'm using a tablespoon, so I'm going to scoop out 3 tablespoons of the cake mix, whichever one they decide to use. And then I'm going to need 2 tablespoons of water. 1, 2. And then they're just going to go ahead and mix their cake batter and water together. You may want to put down some newspaper or something just in case they make too much of a mess. It'll be easier to clean up after. So once they make it, all they do is they're just going to be able to pour it into their silicone cup here, like so. And then once there is a couple of students, you probably don't want to microwave just one at a time because it'll take a while. Also, if you do that, you'll have to adjust this microwave time. This time is expecting for a minimum of 2 cupcakes to be microwaved at once. Also note the microwave strength may be different from our microwave to yours, so you might want to try it first and then see if you need to adjust the microwave time because of the strength of the microwave. So after that, you just put it in here, turn it on for however, and if you're doing 3, you should probably definitely do it for a minute and 15 seconds. So after you finish making the cupcakes, it says to let it cool for 0.05 hours. It's approximately 3 minutes, and you will want to let it cool because it is pretty hot once it comes out. And then you can let them enjoy their cake. After that, we're gonna want to go to step 9, and it's gonna talk about ratios and percents, going over definitions of percents, how to calculate that. There's an example that you can go with the students through. Then step 10 is to just have them go through problems of percentages. So there's 2 worksheets for Blue Group. They have a Blue Group increasing price on cakes worksheet, and then they have a Blue Group decreasing price on cakes worksheet. If you'll notice that the colors match the sections, so in this first part it talks about the cost per cake, and then you'll see that it matches here. They have to calculate the cost per cake. And then the blue is here, tells you what the markup percentage is, and then purple also tells you how to calculate the adjusted final cost. The same goes for the Blue Group decreasing price cake worksheet. The colors match and the definitions and how to calculate each section. Yeah, and then so that will be for blue. For yellow, they also have a percent calculating worksheet. The colors also match here, so you can take them through that, maybe show them the first example and let them do the rest on their own. And then the yellow group also does calculations of breaking even, so they'll come up with an equation for how much the cakes cost and then how much revenue they'll make by selling it at an adjusted price, and then they figure out at where does the breaking even point occur. So you can help them do the first example, and then the second one you can let them try to figure it out on their own. And then that's it. That's step 10, and next is wrap up. So you just wrap up the class. Yeah. All right. So good luck, have fun. We'll see you next time.